Welcome to the podcast. Today, we're diving into the world of game development preservation, specifically focusing on a legendary title that many of us have nostalgic memories of, Command and Conquer Red Alert. Now, if you're a fan of classic real-time strategy games, you might be aware of the recent developments around its source code. Yes, you heard that right. The source code for this iconic game has been released to the public, and it opens up a whole new universe of possibilities for fans and developers alike. Did you know that with the right tools, you can dig into the code that shaped your gaming experiences? That's right. But before we get lost in coding jargon, let's unpack what this all means for both casual gamers and coding enthusiasts. So to kick things off, let's talk about the significance of this release. Why is preserving the source code of a game that's over 2 decades old so important? I mean, games like Red Alert shaped the landscape of strategy gaming. It's where many of us honed our skills against computer AI or friends in epic battles. Preserving that heritage allows new generations to explore and perhaps even understand how these classic pieces of software were built. Thought-provoking question. Does knowing you can tinker with the very code that built your childhood adventures excite you, or does it feel a bit intimidating? Now, with this release, it's clear that the developers are leaning into the community aspect, inviting fans to dive into game development. However, there are some caveats. For instance, the source code doesn't just compile on its own. You've got dependencies on older tech, like the DirectX 5 SDK and the very specific Wacom CC++ compiler. It's like finding the right keys to unlock a treasure chest. You might need to retrofit some pieces to get it all working. It almost feels like trying to operate a vintage gaming console. You've got to blow the dust off and maybe do a little magic to make it work again. And here's a twist. The repository is actually archived for preservation with no support. Imagine being handed a box of Lego bricks without the instructions. You have to navigate through it and, well, figure it out yourself. But for those willing to put in that effort, it can be an incredibly rewarding experience. Now, for any eager developers out there, they've made it clear. If you want to create changes to the source code, you're encouraged to fork the repository rather than contributing directly. It's very much about collaboration in spirit, while maintaining a clean and organized original codebase, which, let's be honest, can get chaotic. So as we wrap up this episode, let's talk about what this means for the future of game preservation. Are we going to see more classic games open up their source codes? And how might that influence indie game development? The conversation about access to technology and preserving our gaming history is more important than ever. Today, we explored the exciting release of the Command and Conquer Red Alert source code and how it symbolizes a deeper shift toward empowering gamers and developers alike. We touched on the importance of preservation, the technical challenges involved, and how this initiative could spark a new wave of creativity. I invite you, dear listeners, to think about your favorite classic game. What would you like to tinker with if you had access to its source code? Reach out with your thoughts, and who knows, maybe we'll dive deeper into this topic next time. Thanks for joining me today. Until next time, keep exploring and keep gaming.